Good afternoon, class. My name is Keisha Henderson, and today I will be going over physical activity and hyperlipidemia and hypertension. So I'll start by defining them. Hyperlipidemia is the term used when there is an abnormally high concentration of fats or lipids in the blood. So there's low density lipoprotein, which is a lousy cholesterol that basically contributes to the fatty buildup that happens in our arteries. High density lipoprotein, which is a healthy cholesterol that carries the low density lipoprotein away from the arteries and back to the liver where it can be broken down. And there's triglycerides, which is the most common fat that stores energy from our diets. So basically what hyperlipidemia is, it is high cholesterol. Hypertension, aka high blood pressure, is a condition in which the force of the blood on the artery walls is too high. So there are two types of high blood pressure. Primary, which is also known as essential hypertension, which develops gradually over time. And then there's secondary hypertension, which is usually caused by an underlying condition and it appears more suddenly. So it's been linked to things like kidney problems, thyroid problems, or adrenal gland tumors. So primary is gradually over time, and secondary, it just kind of happens all of a sudden. Prevalence and etiology. 1 of 3 adults have high blood pressure, and 1 of 3 adults have hyperlipidemia. So according to the American College of Sports Medicine, more than 75 million Americans are struggling with having high blood pressure. The overall causes for hyperlipidemia are basically an unhealthy lifestyle. So that means an unhealthy diet, a lack of physical activity, smoking or exposure to tobacco smoke a lot, and excess weight. So being overweight can also affect your chances of developing hyperlipidemia. Hypertension has some of the similar causes like smoking, being overweight or obese, lack of physical activity, too much salt in your diet, too much alcohol consumption. Also, stress, age, and genetics also play a role in hypertension, as well as family history. According to the physical activity and risk of cognitive decline, first, physical exercise helps to maintain cerebrovascular integrity by sustaining blood flow and the supply of oxygen and nutrients to the brain. Furthermore, physical activity positively influences cardiovascular risk factors such as hypertension. In 2012, an ACLS study showed that improvements in cardiorespiratory fitness were associated with a lower risk of hypertension and hyperlipidemia. As with a lot of health-related outcomes, sedentary behavior is pretty much always associated with a greater risk for developing any type of hypertension or hyperlipidemia. The dose and response relationship between physical activity and hyperlipidemia and hypertension is simple. The 2008 Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans states that for most health outcomes, additional benefits occur as the amount of physical activity increases through higher intensity, greater frequency, and or longer duration. One study on physical activity and the prevention of hypertension found that the mechanisms by which they were studying physical activity did reduce the blood pressure and prevent the development of, and the prevention of development of hypertension were unclear. So this in large part was due to the fact that the etiology of hypertension is multifactorial, so there are a lot of things that play into whether someone is hypertensive or not. According to a study titled The Biological Mechanisms Underlying the Role of Physical Fitness in Health and Resilience, The most important mechanisms relate to modulation of the body's main stress responsive systems. The HPA axis, the autonomic nervous system, and the immune system, and interactions among these systems. And so this is important because we know that high stress levels have also been related to blood pressure and hypertension. Some of the research needs that I thought needed to be looked at further were the specific physical activity regimens, because some of them were pretty vague and didn't really get into specifically what someone needed to do. But some of them did talk about the doctor prescribing specific ones, but just maybe some people who don't go to the doctor could have just a regimen to look at. And also what is causing African American communities and Latino communities to continually have the highest rates of hypertension and hyperlipidemia, and also what would be the best prescription for hypertension. This is my presentation. These are my references.